it's amazing. I think they've done a really good job. It just looks very solid. The car looks like it's very good to drive. The power unit is pretty solid. Like through the high speed, it's just, the car is predictable. And when you have a predictable car, it makes a huge difference. You know, for the drivers to be able to muscle the car. This is where I was standing, and you see them turn in, and they just throw the car in, and there's no bad habits. The Ferrari, they can throw it in, but the car moves in a lot of the exits where the Red Bull is just solid.
Yeah, it is indeed. Lawrence, let's talk about Ferrari then. We just saw Lewis Hamilton walking behind us. A little bit of swagger, I think, a little bit of confidence. He'll be enjoying that, won't he?
Well, this tends to be a track where Lewis goes well on anyway. He likes it. I think it's very encouraging that for Ferrari fans that both Charles and Lewis were able to get up to speed very quickly in this session. Look, again, I'm not going to read too much into these times, but they were one of the teams through pre-season testing that looked stronger than Mercedes. They look like the top fastest teams out there. So great job by Lewis and Charles out there to get a lot of laps on the board. I think that's the key thing. You just want to go out there, you want to practice how those tyres feel, and also how the car feels when you're recharging the batteries, trying to get that maximum lap out for qualifying. So I think that's one of the areas where the teams really want to be working on.
And one thing Lewis was doing really nicely when we looked into the data was the optimization across the lap. Actually, even better than Charles in those first laps. He did finish half a second in the drift. They were on different compounds, soft and medium. Lewis did a great management across the laps. Absolutely did the best out of any car out there in turn 13. Really interesting gamesmanship going on across. You mentioned Mercedes. It does look like they're still keeping something in their pocket. Like all of the Mercedes values, the ones that were still running, that is, weren't pushing on the straights as much.
Yeah, we're going to go and get into that in a moment, Ruth. But we are debriefing FP1. We are here in Albert Park in Melbourne. Some lovely sunshine. Just take a look at that skyline. FP2 coming up. Okay, well, Charles Leclerc was...
It was a mega performance from Charles Leclerc to take the fastest time in the early stages of this weekend. FP1 quickest time, but even still, how much are they putting on the table and how much are Mercedes still holding back? You can see how this Ferrari was behaving. Juan Pablo Montoya just picking up absolutely correctly. This little bit of a shimmy in the mid-corner it has. The area where they at the moment look really strong is in this middle section of the lap. Was it 8 tenths? Charles Leclerc at some stages throughout that session, and it really is this area where the Ferrari at the moment, with the setup that they've got, with the power delivery that they've got, keeps on delivering all the way down to turn 9. I suspect we'll see in the data just that little bit more straight line speed as Leclerc runs down towards turn 9. The Ferrari continuing to pull where other cars might fall away into their super clip or indeed into their lift and coast strategies. So nice movement in the mid-corner for the Ferrari, but are they pushing that straight line speed a little bit harder than others? We'll find out in the weekend.
We certainly will. Alex Brundle, thank you very much. To Mercedes then, Juan Pablo, because Mercedes, do you think they're possibly going to get something back? Are we seeing some sandbagging from Mercedes?
I think they're just comfortable with the way they're running their plan. I think they know what they have, and at the end of the day, you're limiting the amount of miles you can do on an engine, and the less you do in practice, the more you have for the races. So I think they're just managing it. I think they know what they have when they turn it up, and they're focusing on, you know, see how the tires behave, do the long runs, do the short runs, get a decent balance in the car. The car looks pretty solid, but you haven't seen them like run wide anywhere, like being in trouble. It's like, you know, they have room everywhere right now. That is a good problem.
Lawrence is nodding quite emphatically.
Yeah, I agree. Look, talking to George coming into this weekend, he's super confident. The body language suggests that. They don't need to go out in FP1 to prove anything. He doesn't need to be pushing the limit on the car, on the tyres. It's just general belief within the team that they've got the speed inherently in the car. They just need to go out, learn about it, get the settings right, so they choose the right setup direction for the rest of the weekend. They want to build confidence for both drivers heading to FP2 later on today, and that's will start to change the pace and for a lot of others as well. So yeah, Mercedes look very it's just in their hopper, and they feel very well.
One thing with that, the problem is when you run like this, you don't see the balance from your car. And you think everything is great, and then you start pushing, and they might have some surprises with the balance of the car they haven't seen.
However,
yeah,
practicing a whole new load of different energy management across the lap, which shows a level of confidence, more so than any other team. From what we could see, they were really playing around across those laps. I still think Mr. George Russell, owner of the team,
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Red Bull, Ferrari looking the fastest. Mercedes was everyone's favourite going into this, but still a very long way to go. At one point, a lot of the drivers were having issues with outlap.
Well, the hard thing is you need to save the energy. You see they're doing single laps. So you need to be 100% battery to open the lap. So you're not putting enough heat on the tires. You're not preparing everything enough. So it's a surprise. The way you need to prepare the tires is a little different. Being a little more aggressive on the tires. That for a guy that is younger, that came from F2 and F3 the last 2 years, he's been in F1 for a long time. You forgot about that. I mean, you know how to do it, but you just don't do it because you're so used to, you know, the tire warmers, the tires being always in the window, and now the tires is not 100% in the window. Then we're gonna start seeing more surprises, especially for qualifying, because in qualifying, they need to have everything at 100% to start the lap, and to have everything 100% on energy and power and everything, you're not gonna have the tires ready. You either do A or B, so that's gonna be interesting to see how the tires behave through the lap.
Is that something that the drivers are just going to get used to over this weekend then?
Again, somebody's gonna figure it out, and somebody's gonna get it really wrong.
And then they'll all copy the driver that figured it out, right?
Exactly.
Lawrence, talk to us about Audi as well, because they looked pretty impressive out there, considering they are a new team on the block with quite a few changes.
Yeah, I think they're one of those teams where they just want to be collecting data. They're not chasing outright pace. When you come in as a new team, you don't really have that kind of back-end or that bank of data that you need on the power unit, for example, with Audi.